Hey VC, Cindy here. Welcome to my listening lady lair, as my husband calls it. Today I want to show kind of a special collection of albums in my bigger record collection. And today I want to share 60s girl groups, some of my favorites. I'm going to show 12 different albums um, from different female girl groups from the 60s that I really adore. Today I'm not featuring any all female bands. Hopefully that'll be another video if my channel's not canceled. And 60s girl groups, traditionally female singers, lots of great harmonies, um, great producers, great songwriters. I think the Beatles kind of killed the girl group era, but they left behind quite a catalog. Unfortunately, most of the girl groups didn't have their own album. A lot of them were just released on 45, 7 each singles. They're kind of hard to find. Like the Supremes, I can always find a great Supremes album in a record store, but it's kind of hit or miss on other artists. And so, luckily, there have been some reissues of albums, such as Sundazed Records has released a few girl group albums, and so I've been able to snag some of my favorites. And of course, Music on Vinyl did a reissue with the Ronettes. And so they're definitely out there and you can get them. When I do find them, they're relatively inexpensive. Um, but I just really love girl groups. I don't see 60s girl groups really featured in the VC, so I figured I would share 12 albums and hopefully do that in 12 minutes. So this is my 12 by 12 feature on 60s girl groups. So the first one I'm going to start with is one that I just recently picked up, and I've been wanting this group for a while. Their music has not been like reissued. They did have some albums, and so hopefully one day I'll stumble across those. But I found a Lori Records Chiffons Greatest Hits compilation. And the Chiffons, lots of great stuff. He's So Fine, One Fine Day, I Have a Boyfriend, Sailor Boy, just sweet talking guy. Some really great music off of this. And I was very happy to find that. Number 2 in my girl group that I want to share is The Angels, and that's My Boyfriend's Back. And I'm sure that all of you have probably heard that song, My Boyfriend's Back. And this was on Smash Records. And this also has The Guy with the Black Eye, which is really cool. It does have a Hurdy-Gurdy Man remake. It has He's So Fine on here. And so a lot of the girl groups I noticed, some of them, redo the other ones' songs, but really great. So number 3 is a group that most of you have already heard of, and that's the Supremes. And this album's I Hear a Symphony, and of course it has that big head on there. They also do some cover songs on here, Unchained Melody, and they also do a cover of Yesterday, A Lover's Concerto, which was also done by the girl group The Toys. And so that is the Supremes, and this of course is on Motown. Another great artist, and this is a reissue by Wax Time, and that's the Marvelettes, and this is their Playboy album, and really great group. The thing with girl groups, it seems like they really were not promoted like their male counterparts in the 60s. So it really relied on whether the song was a big hit is kind of determined their popularity. And it was just the exposure was very limited, which I think is kind of sad because there is some great music here. And so, what are we on? Number 5, and that's the Crystals. And this one is He's a Rebel, and of course has a song on there, He's a Rebel. And also it has the other hit, He's Sure the Boy I Love. Also has Uptown on here, which was on their other album, Uptown Twisting something with the Crystals. And this one is also a reissue, and this is on Sundays, did the reissue, and really great stuff. One of my favorites is Presenting the Fabulous Ronettes, featuring Veronica. This is such an awesome album, and of course it has the big hit everybody knows, Be My Baby, but there's other great ones on here like Chapel of Love, Walking in the Rain, Baby I Love You, some really great stuff. This was reissued by Music on Vinyl. I do also luckily have the original, which I was so happy that I found. Great stuff here, the Ronettes. A group maybe you've never heard of, but is definitely a staple in the girl group catalog, and that's the Royalettes. And It's Gonna Take a Miracle, and that was also one of their hits, It's Gonna Take a Miracle. I think that's probably the big one everyone would know. And this is great. This is on MGM, and a really great album. Next, this is also a reissue. Originally was released on Redbird, and I think Varus Vintage re-released it, and this is the Dixie Cups Chapel of Love. And of course it has the big hit on here, the Chapel of Love. And it has Iko Iko on there, which is, that song's been around for a while, like a song from New Orleans. And a lot of different groups have redid it. I know the Belle Stars redid that song in the 80s, and it's a really great song. So, the Dixie Cups. Next up is a favorite. This is Martha Reeves and the Vandellas, and this is Heat Wave, which has the big hit on here, Heat Wave. Also has a cover of My Boyfriend's Back, and Then He Kissed Me, Hey There Lonely Boy, and Mockingbird. So some really great songs on here, and that is Martha Reeves and the Vandellas. Next up is one of my favorite girl groups, and they just sing about teenage love tragedy at its best, and really love this group. This album's a reissue, but I'm happy to have it, and that is the Shangri-Las, Leader of the Pack. And of course it has the song Leader of the Pack on here. Also, Give Him a Big Kiss, Bulldog is on here. That's they did a great service to that song. Remember Walking in the Sand, and a really tragic song is I Can Never Go Anymore, and that's a great song. So, teenage love tragedy at its best, the Shangri-Las. And they also have Shangri-Las 1965 was just reissued. It's like on some label that I've never really heard of before out of Europe, but it's okay. It's okay. I did get it, and it's a okay-ish reissue of it. I'm looking forward to finding it out in the wild someday, which is very unlikely, but maybe. The next one is also a group maybe you've never heard of, but again, in the girl group catalog, really important, and that's the group The Toys. And they released a Lover's Concerto, of course, Attack, They do a wonderful cover of Yesterday by the Beatles. And this is an awesome album. This is on the Dino Voice label, and that's the Toys. And to wrap up my 12 girl group albums, I'm going to show the Shirelles. And this one is Baby It's You album. And this features Soldier Boy, also Baby It's You. It has Big John on it. This is just an awesome album. I do love the Shirelles. And that's on Scepter Records, but it was reissued by Sundays, so this is a reissue. So a great reference for 60s girl groups, if you don't know about them, there's a book out and it's called Girl Groups, Fabulous Females That Rock the World. And this is by John Clementine. But it also has like some contributions by Sheila B. at Cha Cha Charming, who is like the expert on girl groups. She just knows everything. But this is a great reference. I think it might be out of print now, but I'm sure you can get it on the secondhand market. And this is just really a great reference. So, thank you so much for tuning in to my video, and hopefully you enjoyed my albums, 60s girl groups, and maybe you saw a group you never heard of before, and you'll give them a listen, give them a stream. I think it's really a great time in music with 60s girl groups. So thanks for tuning in. I will see you on the flip side. Bye.